Three, two, one.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel.
Hi everyone, I'm Yuka. We're gonna do a reaction video.
A reaction video, why Japanese are so thin according to science.
Science behind. Do you think Japanese people are thin?
I don't know, I've kind of seen a lot of fat Japanese.
Yeah.
One of their main sports is sumo, and last time I checked, sumo guys are not thin.
Yeah, I think I'm normal. And like a pleasantry from.
That's not the plump. Okay, let's go. Brightside. Okay, this is different.
Why Japanese people are so thin, according to science.
Where she saw.
When it comes to health tips, who better to turn to than the country with the longest life expectancy and one of the lowest obesity rates on the planet?
Cosplay girls.
While the rest of the world is seeing anywhere from 15 to over 30% of its population severely overweight, Japan has managed to keep that number at just 3.6%. If you're ready to find out how the Japanese managed to stay so effortlessly thin, keep on watching. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to join the bright side of life.
Okay.
Counting down from number 10, diet. The secret to Japan's success begins with their diet, which is pretty carb-heavy and low in saturated fats. Their main dishes of choice include vegetables, grains, fish, and meat. Dairy products and fruits are consumed in moderation. They tend to stay away from foods with excessive amounts of salt and sugar, like burgers and soda. Many Japanese people follow dietary guidelines set by the government that place the focus on eating fresh foods and cooking at home.
Look at this. This is like Harajuku. And basically every single store in Harajuku, like they had the Cookie Time store, they have the crepe store, they've got Macca's, they've got KFC.
Yeah, I think a lot of Japanese people also eat a lot of like junk
food, and there's like two combinies down this end of that. What's this? Takeshita Dori. Like, see, there's Wolfgang Puck Express. Holy cow, it's like fast food central on Takeshita Dori.
This actually gives the Japanese a genuine desire to eat real healthy foods versus processed stuff like pizza, hot dogs, and frozen ready meals. Number 9, no snacking. Yep, the country with the most vending machines per capita doesn't actually snack all that much. In Japan, they usually stick to 3 wholesome meals a day that don't leave them hungry or dealing with sudden cravings. Those who do snack keep it in small quantities and with a lot of moderation.
I do snacking often.
Like, every time we go to Japan, well, I'm speaking about myself, I generally tend to put on about 3 to 4 kilos because I'm kind of like a kid in a candy store, and there is just so many convenience stores, so many combini, 7-Eleven, Lawson,
Yeah, we always
Family Mart.
snacking.
We always go in and checking out all the Japanese snacks, and they have a ton of snacks.
Yeah.
But if Japanese didn't snack, why do they need to have so many combinis? And the combinis sell so many snacks, and they have so many vending machines on like every corner. So
Number 8, fast food. Just like the rest of the world, a lot of Japanese people have a hectic schedule that doesn't leave a lot of time or opportunity to prepare a home-cooked meal. In that case, they can turn to their version of fast food, which is usually a lot healthier and resembles home-style cooking. Of course, they do have American fast food chains like McDonald's, Burger King, and Pizza Hut. But even with these options readily available, many still prefer a traditional meal at home as they've been raised to keep nutrition in mind. Kids in Japan are given nutrition classes in elementary school, which allows them to grow up as adults who make smarter food choices, since they're well aware of the detrimental effects fast food has on the body. That's why they tend to stay away from the super greasy stuff.
I'm not sure if I agree with this one either. It's like saying that Japanese never eat fast food, or they're trained from birth to eat healthy, right? A little nonsense.
But Yoshinoya or Matsuya, there are a lot of those fast food which is not.
Yeah, it's fast food because they serve it quickly, but it's kind of more home style, right? Like it was saying that Japanese people tend to eat and cook at home.
No, they're using Uber Eats or something these days. And
Or they just have to walk like 20 meters down the road.
Convenience,
like
supermarket.
Or like a little small izakaya or something like that. Did you get taught nutrition at school when you were like in elementary school, primary school?
We had a cooking class when we are elementary school from like a 4th grade. And then we cook some onigiri, miso soup. Did you have a cooking class? No cooking class.
Well, not until intermediate.
The Japanese have a kyushoku, which is lunch, and then that balance of the nutrition was quite perfect compared with maybe
like American high school canteens that they
I've been living in the US when I was high school, and I was a little bit surprised that high school canteen food because there are a lot of fries.
Number 7. Eating on time. Most Japanese people have very regulated meal times. They eat 3 filling meals a day, with breakfast usually happening between 8 and 9 a.m., lunch from 12 to 1 p.m., and dinner between 6 and 8 p.m. This routine drives the Japanese to prepare meals in advance and helps them make better food choices, given that they don't have to figure out what to eat on the spot. If you don't have a steady meal schedule or tend to eat whenever, chances are you'll make poorer food choices. You might find yourself hungry come mealtime with no food prepared, and you'll naturally head to a fast food joint to satisfy that hunger.
Sort of looking at those hours, right? Those are kind of normal times for people to have breakfast 8 till 9 before you go to work. Have lunch at 12 to 1. Ooh, it's nothing special or anything, right? Having dinner from 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock. That's generally what time people finish work at about 5, and then they're commuting back home, and then they chill out and have a beer or something when they come home. They relax, and then they have dinner between 6 and 8. So, yeah, I don't think Japanese have any kind of superpowers because they're having dinner at like special regulated time, right?
I agree.
What is their point with that?
Eating on time.
Number 6. Exercise for kids.
This is a good one.
It's a lot more common for Japanese children to walk or cycle to school. Of course, other countries have a lot of reasons why it might not be efficient or safe for kids to hoof it to class. The distance from home to school might be too far. The city may not have safe zone for pedestrians to use, or there might be a concern over crime. Since Japan has one of the lowest crime rates in the world, it's safe to walk to most places. This means that Japanese children grow up in a culture where walking and exercise is natural to them. And as adults, they can instill this in their own kids.
I remember one time I went to Japan. I was watching Japanese TV, the show about little kids, 2 years old, 3 years old, walking to school by themselves. They're getting themselves all ready to go to school, and then they're walking like 10 kilometers to school.
But I think they're not a 2 or 3, right? They may be 6.
No, this little girl was 2 or 3 years old, and she's like... So sort of in keeping with that train of thought, I was skimming through Apple TV Plus, and I noticed that they had a new documentary series called Becoming You. I watched the preview of the first episode, and it was a Japanese one. What I think Becoming You is about is it sort of follows kids from all around the world during like the first 5 years of their life, and just showing how their environment influences them growing up to become adults.
Number 5. Portion sizes. As in, supersize me, not. Portion sizes have been on a steep rise in the last 20 years throughout the world. For example, countries like Australia, Canada, Germany, the US, and the UK have much larger fast food portions than Japan. Plus, Japan has a culture of small portions in both fast food and home cooking. There, food isn't served on one big plate.
I just want to say something about this video. The video quality is really, really high, right? They've used some incredible cameras, and lighting just looks so crisp. Like the color just pops.
But on several small ones. Come mealtime, the typical dinner table for a Japanese family might be filled with an assortment of dishes, all packing a variety of nutrition. Even if they eat a lot of white rice, which you might know is high in carbohydrates, they eat it in small portions. so they end up having fully balanced meals.
I agree with what they said about portion size. Japanese portion size is significantly smaller compared to American portion size and Australian or Western portion size. Nihon shoku, right? It's like beautifully presented. It's definitely a less is more attitude.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that in America, they have so many like Chinese restaurants, all you can eat buffet, and you see people and they're just loading up their plates with as much food as they can, like it's a challenge, like they're trying to win money or something.
But there are a lot of all you can eat yakiniku places in Japan as well, though.
Yeah, but yakiniku is a little bit different because it's like shabu shabu, it's so thin. Do they call it tabe hodai? So that's like all you can eat. And nomi hodai. Nomi hodai is all you can drink.
So what is
That's
the
like
portion
the-
size?
Yeah,
Really?
right? So, generally, if you go to a Japanese restaurant, the more exclusive the restaurant is, the smaller the portion sizes are. Which is kind of the same in Western restaurants
Yeah,
too, right?
Okay, but let's keep watching.
Number 4. A great public transportation system. If you live in a big city, you might be lucky enough to enjoy a good system of public transportation like the Japanese have. Unfortunately, a lot of people who live in towns where the locations are more spread out are forced to travel by car. But since many regions in Japan are quite dense, a lot of Japanese people don't own cars. Their train system is extensive, and other types of public transit are also readily available. Separate bicycle lanes and plenty of safe areas for pedestrians are common sights in Japan. This allows the Japanese to naturally burn calories as they commute to and from work or school every day. They don't need to hit the gym because their simple daily routine does a good job at keeping those excess pounds away.
Now, I kind of agree with that in that Japanese people do tend to do a lot of walking, but I don't think it's because they have a great public transportation system. In this example, they're saying Japan has a great public transportation system. So that's why Japanese are thin, according to science. But then the example they gave was they're like walking a lot and riding their bike a lot. Is that a consequence of having a great public transportation system? I don't think so.
But that maybe point to is they don't have to own the car. So car is an easy way to not to work, right?
There's still a lot of families in Japan who do own cars.
Yeah, but we walk a lot in Japan, a lot. Because like Tokyo is pretty big city, and then we have to walk when we want to get to the somewhere we want to go, right?
Or to the train station, and then like generally you've got to walk down a whole lot of flights of stairs and then come around and then walk down a big long tunnel and then go down another thing to catch the train.
Even at the station, we need to walk a lot.
Or like if you're looking for a particular exit, they'll have like
exits.
Number 3. Tea time. No,
Tea
it's not
time.
golf. Tea, especially the green variety, is the #1 beverage in Japan. Green tea has been praised for having a ton of major health benefits, like increasing metabolism, burning fat, fighting anxiety, and reducing the risk of cardiovascular disease, to name a few. Many Japanese people drink green tea at least once a day, while others drink it several times in the morning as an afternoon treat and with any meals. A lot of restaurants offer diners green tea for free at the beginning of the meal or afterwards. Consuming so much tea means that their bodies get filled up with water, which keeps overeating at bay. Depending on how it's prepared, green tea can have 0 calories. Compare that to a glass of lemonade at an average of 120 calories, or a can of soda at about 150 calories. And you can see how common Western treats and beverages lead to obesity and weight problems.
Japanese people drink a lot of tea, that's true. But Western country also drink a lot of tea, right? UK, there's tea time always, right? And then Australia, 10:30.
But the tea that they tend to drink more frequently in England would tend to be Earl Grey tea or Twinings tea, and they would usually have that with milk and sugar. So
that's not really good.
If you compare British tea with milk and sugar to Japanese sencha or matcha, which has like
Milk cha.
zero sugar, practically 0 calories, then of course Japanese tea is going to be healthier. Funnily enough, Japan is the only country in the world that has such a variety of special limited edition Coca-Cola. And that's where they always launch all the experimental flavors of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
In terms of cola and sodas and things like
Yeah,
that,
everyone's drinking
like royal milk tea,
tea.
iced or
Yeah.
hot, or Boss coffee in a can, which is pretty sweet. So,
Okay.
science?
Number 2. Dinnerware.
Dinnerware. Okay.
The practice of using chopsticks also helps in weight management, since they make you eat more slowly and in smaller bites. This slow process of eating helps people catch when they're feeling full and avoid eating too much. The fact that food is served on a bunch of plates also slows down the process. When you think about it, if you have one plate with a burger and fries in front of you, you'll be able to eat it much faster than if you have several different containers filled with a variety of options like rice, soup, vegetables, and fish. This way, Japanese people are able to pace themselves and be more mindful about what's entering their body.
Should be up.
Number 1. Food as an experience. During mealtime, do you sort of zone out, scroll through social media, watch TV, or wolf down your food as you're on your way to work or school? In most cases, this
That's
distracted eating only results in overeating, since you don't really see or think about how much food you're taking in. The number 1 way that the Japanese stay thin has to do with removing distractions and being mindful about the process of food consumption. Eating in Japan is treated with respect. People usually sit down at a dining table and focus on savoring each bite. This allows them to notice when their stomachs are full and realize how clean eating actually makes their bodies feel better. Treat food as an experience, and you'll be more careful or even grateful for what you're putting in your body. So, tell us, Brightsiders, what's your biggest takeaway from these Japanese tips? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a like, share it with your friends, and click subscribe to stay on the bright side.
Out of those 10 things, how many of those did you agree with?
2?
Yeah, I'm about 2 or 3.
Yeah, last part was pretty good. Yeah, that's
they,
very.
They saved the best for last. It's the perfect clickbait video. Why Japanese are so thin according to science, and then they don't actually tell you any science until the last one, and you're like, what? This is nonsense. This is nonsense. That's not science. Where's the science?
So these days, like everyone is busy, and then they can get a lot of junk food or easy fast food from anywhere. So they don't have to cook, but it's really hard for us to manage all the calories and nutrition. That's a kind of problem for any country.
When I was growing up, I remember being taught about the healthy food pyramid. That was kind of what they taught us at cooking class in elementary school. While the Japanese is a little bit more holistic, and it also emphasizes the importance of regular daily exercise and keeping well hydrated to keep you fuller. Sometimes it's better to just try and keep things simple. Right? Just cut down on portion sizes, get enough sleep,
That's very important.
try and eat a balanced meal, physical activity, and also drinking a large amount of water or tea.
That's
a
very
day,
important,
right?
isn't it? So you think Japanese are a thing? Okay,
Completely depends on the person and the person's personality, how they were raised. There's large people, there's skinny people all around the world.
It was interesting to see that perspective.
But I wonder where they got their information from.
Yeah,
That
what
was-
do you think?
Tell us in the comments below.
Yeah, let's discuss.
That brings us to the end of another video. Hope you had fun learning about food in Japan and how structured Japanese eating is. If you enjoyed our content, please don't forget to smash that like button, click the subscribe button, and ring the bell for the notifications. See you next time. Bye.